as we welcome our next speaker on the stage. To get a true understanding of OOH as a medium, it is important for us to get brand perspectives as well. Our next session, Amul, India's largest FMCG brand built on OOH, delves right into that. So our next speaker has been associated with Amul, Asia's largest and world's 8th largest dairy brand for the last 32 years. He is a member of the Confederation of Indian Industry Committee on International Trade Policy, has been nominated as a member on the Standing Committee of Marketing of the International Dairy Federation, and has served on the Global Dairy Trade Events Oversight Board as well. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause. Welcome on the stage, Managing Director, GCMMF Amul, Mr. Jayen Mehta. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me here, Mr. Lloyd. It's a great pleasure to be here, and talking to the advertising and media fraternity is a great pleasure, always, because there's a lot to learn from each one of you and your experiences. And perhaps I have this opportunity to share how a farmers' cooperative owned by 36 lakh farmers built a brand with the support of OOH. And I begin with a tribute to the man who actually made it possible. It was Mr. Sylvester Ticuna way back in 1960s. He was working on the Amul brand. He got the product Amul butter. We were fighting the multinational brands in those days. And he and Dr. Kurian came up with this great idea that if we want to make this product give an appeal to the masses, but with the limited budgets that we had in those days, and we still have limited budgets even today, how do you leverage the power of out of home? And that's where Mr. Ticuna did this entire magic, and we are really grateful to him for building up what we are today. So as I mentioned, Amul is owned by 3.6 million farmers who are in 18,600 villages of Gujarat. And this is the number I put it before you, is the quantity of milk or the volume of milk that they handle every year, which is about 10 billion liters. It's close to 300 lakh liters of milk every day by our 36 lakh farmers, which is processed at more than 98 of our dairy plants and sold through network of our 15,000 distributors and 1 million retail outlets, and obviously to consumers like you. This makes us the 8th largest dairy company in the world. And this is another number I put before you, is the value of the milk that we sell, which is $9 billion US. So at 72,000 crore rupees, brand Amul is perhaps, or not perhaps, actually the largest FMCG brand in the country today, growing at a rate of about double digit for the last 10 years, about 18% CAGR. And this is another number I put before you, is the number of packs that we sell every year, which is about 20 billion. So this is perhaps the largest number of single consumer packs transacted by any brand anywhere in the world. And these are the consumer touch points that we have. These are the consumer interactions that we have. And this is what makes the brand owned by every single Indian and exported to almost 50 countries around the world. So this is what is the magic. Half of it is through pouches, the milk in pouches, which is close to 3.5 crore packs every day. Cattle feed also is a part of the portfolio, 50 products, 1,000 plus SKUs, and 1 million retail outlets which are serviced. And this is what I was talking, the 8th largest dairy brand in the world. And the list on the top actually is multinational companies operating in larger geographies. We only operate in one geography of India, which is one state of India, which is Gujarat. So it shows the opportunity that we have. And the brand also commands the respect and the growth opportunity that we have, treated as the strongest dairy brand in the world. But this is what I mentioned earlier. It's a brand which is actually owned by every single Indian. And this is how it has been able to come and evolve over this last 7 decades of its existence. And the sense of opportunity that we see is the aspiration of every single Indian, what they want to see with this brand. And we're trying to do and work on how to leverage this kind of a connect. Amul has benefited greatly as compared to, and since you are all been practitioners of marketing and all that, the umbrella branding strategies work magic for us. And that's where we are able to leverage the power of the brand, the communication, the multiplier effect of a communication which is done for every single product. And that's why Amul's advertising budget is less than 1% of the turnover. You know, food companies, FMCG companies spend 5 to 12% of the turnover on advertising. But here, with a very, very limited budget, because objective of the organization as a cooperative is to pass on the largest share of the producer's rupee to the consumer. So if you spend 100 rupees on Amul products, 85% of it goes back to the producer. And this is where you have to work with low margins, low costs, low overheads, and see that you are able to keep consumers happy because they get the best quality product at the most affordable prices, and the producer gets the largest share of the consumer's rupee. And believe me, this is the ratio which is the highest in the world. In Europe, in US, in New Zealand, Australia, producer gets only 1/3 of what the consumer pays. And this is where what makes India unique, what makes the cooperative model unique, and the producers associated with us benefit out of it. And to do this in a very, very cost-efficient manner, you need to be looking at communication in a very, very different way. I mean, you don't have big budgets to splurge on. You buy the spots as per the best TRPs available and so on and so forth. Here, so Amul consistently has believed that we need not be thinking everything from the lens of an advertiser. We need to think like a creator. And as we know, the Butter Topical campaign is one classic example. The Manthan film we made way back in 1976, India's entry to Oscar in those days, an national award-winning film. Every farmer contributed 2 rupees and made this film, which has become a legend in its own way. But this is where you realize that if you have a story to tell, you need to find out to do it. But then more importantly, like the Butter Topical, there needs to be a consistency in strategy and execution. And everything what we do has this hallmark of being consistent in whatever we do. And again, no brand manager tries to leave a mark, no marketing head tries to leave a mark saying that I made this change, I did this change, and so on and so forth. So if everything is working well, you don't need to change it, you upgrade it, you refresh it. And that's why since 1960s, the utterly butterly delicious slogan has stayed. Amul, the taste of India, which was coined in 94, continues to be the pillar of our communication. Amul ice cream, for that instance, real milk, real ice cream is the tagline which stays on. And since 2000, Amul Doodh Peeta Hai India. And that's what we continue to build on, refresh, and still want to have this challenge of making every generation own each of these words, each of these lines, and actually embed into it. And how does this happen? So this is what is the magic which we need try to strike. It's very difficult, we all know it, but then if you have a content which is appealing to the customer in the context which it is supposed to be there, with the consistency, if you are in the sweet spot in the center, that is what actually makes the difference in communication, and that's where you use different tools of communication to work on this particular thing. And our Amul Topical campaign, which started with outdoors way back in 1965, is a very, very clear demonstration of how these things can be done. The industry itself has evolved, metamorphosized over these last several decades. And there are challenges of the outdoor industries. We've been talking to several experts of the industry, the taxation rates, the scarcity of the sites, or the huge number of proliferation of sites, the digital technology, the advent of new changes happening. So all this is actually there. But end of the day, we are doing for what? The communication is for the consumer, and the consumer is always active, engaged, and with the multiple skills around, there's a lot of distraction. The television industry has been badly affected. The print industry has its challenge. Outdoor industry has gone through these challenges. But then, if we are able to connect with the pulse of the customer, I'm sure there is no challenge or no adversity which can be converted into an opportunity. But this is where, I mean, we are at Anand. And this is the Ganesh Chokdi where this Amul hoarding has been there for decades. But you can see this clutter in the space. And that's what is a phenomenon all over the place. Now, how do you manage to get the attention of the consumers? And that's where you create marquee sites where people go around and to look at the Amul Topical. But this is not the only way now in which Amul Topical has been served, because conventional, traditional advertising, most of us who have been in the industry for more than 2 decades, I've been comfortable with the right side of it, which is the traditional part, the typical TV, the typical print, the radios and out of homes. And on the right side, left side, you see that now the digital space taking over, and that's what the challenge is. But then brands look at it as options. We have to think like a consumer does and try to evolve and adapt into it. But before we get into the deeper subject of advertising, outdoors, and so on, a question to the group here. Amul Topicals, Amul hoardings have been there for ages now. What is the number of Amul hoarding sites that we have across the country? Any guess? Slightly louder, please. 25, okay. 80, 200. 0, good question, good one, I love you. Okay, what else? Okay. 600, 1000, 28, 700. So this is the reality. I mean, I was talking to the experts here, Amitji was here, and he was asking the same question, that why don't you have more number of sites? So this is the fact. I mean, as a brand, this is what you can afford. Perhaps you don't need more. Perhaps the message has to reach, find a way to reach out to a large number of people. But we tried to crack this puzzle by taking the content in a multiple formats. We are in more than 30 newspapers, and I'm sure you read the Times of India and the Indian Express on the front page and Times on page 3 and so on and so forth. So this has a much multiplier effect. So everybody sees the hoarding. People think it's an hoarding, it's a creative, but it comes to you in a multiple forms. So what these 80, 100, 200 hoarding sites cannot do, this is where the creative is the power. That's what renders itself to the other part of it. Then the media multiplier comes to the social media. And Amul is perhaps the only brand in India which has 13, 14 language handles in all these languages, through all these social media tools that we have. We try to reach out to a large number of people and creating content in so many languages, and that's how talking to every single customer in his or her mother tongue. And this is where is the multiplier reach of the effect, and the content we create through multiple product-related communication or the consumer-related communication or even consumer-created communication gives us a very huge reach and impact, and that's what we will be able to do it. But coming back to this subject of outdoors and how Amul leverages outdoor and what do we do to leverage the outdoor, the first thing is now the focus, and I'll share with some examples, on having consistency and strong content, basically, to drive the strategy such as Amul Topicals has done for each of the products that we have. And this is where in food, you need to stand out from the clutter by creating new and innovative OH avenues also. And I'll share a few examples and maybe learn from you what all we need to do more about it. And also create our own solutions. And like we had met a lot of exhibitors here, and we talked about how we can leverage our own spaces, which is, say, Amul Parlors. We have more than 10,000 Amul Parlors, the delivery vans and the push carts and all different tools of communication that we have, basically trying to engage the customer with what's the content, the product, communication, and what's new at the organization. Okay, so the Amul Topical campaign, which was one of the originally hand-painted, color, hand-drawn, it's still sketched by hand, illustrated by hand, and then it is now put on digital hoardings as much as the billboards that we do. But this is what is the power. But this is the girl which has kept the brand young and vibrant. I mean, she is more than 55 years old, but the brand is still 5 to 6 years old in the minds of the customer and connected well across generations. And Mr. Bachchan, in the book which we had, he commented that Amul Topical was actually before Twitter trending came in, Amul Topical was equivalent to what was trending in those days. And that's what we have maintained, this kind of a thing. This is what we started in 1966, the first topical campaign. And from there, the story continues. And you have seen Twitter and the change in the logo of Twitter also being commented by the Amul Girl. This is where we are trying to bring in the communication about food and food products. So we are experimenting with this new format, and we've taken marquee sites in different parts of the country, trying to build and see and basically experiment that is this a new way to advertise, to communicate the food, the goodness of food, the drool of food, and the particular things about it. So this is what is the new campaigns which we have only released in the last few months, and we're trying to experiment how to do it. So the airports have these kind of large, big format digital presentation screens, and this is at Ahmedabad airport where all the arrival belt we have taken, both domestic and international, trying to play the creatives also through the AVs but in these things. Same into Baroda airport and several other airports. The Delhi airport, the walk when you travel from the arrival gate to the at the T3 in Bombay, Delhi, the bus shelters we're trying to do continuously. Tejas Express is where we are also advertising, sir, the Amul campaign. Our shop shutters, I mean, the outlets that we have give a particular signage about it. The dealer boards, I mean, the quality of the dealer boards also has improved, and we're trying to invest into that. Some other opportunities our team leverages on in the boats and the ghats of Varanasi, or the beaches of Goa, or the shikaras of the Dal Lake is also being trying to experiment with to it. And obviously wall painting in rural areas where we connect with the farmers also come up in a very big way. But then we also get an opportunity to showcase the history of the topicals, and all topicals related to FIFA were put on 70 odd hoarding sites in Kerala and West Bengal during the FIFA World Cup, and we ran through all topicals of the past. So this is what then, this was Calcutta, that was Kochi, and this is how we try to leverage on the nostalgia of the football, the stadiums and the matches. And this is in Portugal, because we sponsored the Portugal team, we got rights into their stadiums there, and this is what you see internationally also. The thousands of milk tankers, the thousands of delivery vans, transportation vehicles. Sir, the Indian Railways, we are the first ones, perhaps in the world, to brand a railway engine, and this is Web 5 at Baroda, and we've taken 20, and there are another 50 more we are looking at. So this was moving. I mean, we didn't take the whole train, this engine's delivered, and they still continue to be a very good example of how can you use communication. This is where the next frontier of communication is, the booths in Delhi or anywhere in the country. We have good space of display available, and that's what we can leverage using the digital, the LEDs, and try to share the different types of communication around that. We already started that in a small way, but that we can leverage in a very big way. But then milk itself is a medium, and the number of pouches that we sell, as I mentioned, if 3.5 crore pouches every day means these many consumer touch points, our circulation will be more than most of the newspapers put together. So this is what we have been leveraging, trying to run schemes, announcements of new products, and so on and so forth, and that's where we would do it. And this is where we come and talk to you as the experts. I've met a lot of people here since this afternoon, but anybody who has any idea on what is to be done to improve the brand connection and communication, we'll be very happy to do that. And before I end, we talked about numbers of the quantity of milk handled, the quantity, the turnover, and so on and so forth. But our currency is actually not milk. Our currency is trust. The trust of the millions of producers, trust of 1 billion consumers, and how we as an organization try to leverage and match both of these things to continue to deliver what India wants, which is the progress of the farmers and betterment in the lives of our customers. And in the words of Dr. Kurian, we have traversed a path that few have dared to. We are continuing a path that few have dared to, courage to follow. We must pursue a path that even fewer can dream to pursue. Yet we must, because we hold in trust the aims and aspirations of millions of our countrymen. And if anybody has a question on the efficacy of this medium, you can look at this. This is a bus shelter in Gurgaon, and this is one of the most embarrassing moments. Thank you so much. We're happy to take any questions.
Well, sir, we've got a question, actually 3 questions coming your way right now. We're going to request Mr. Anil Hirani, Managing Director at Armour Display, to kindly join us on stage. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. It was very enlightening to know what all Amul is doing. We all have grown from childhood, seeing, eating, believing. And great to know that OH has been the main medium from which you all have grown. You had a total of 40 questions. So I'll just shortlist to 3 only.
Okay.
I think the first question is from Mr. Nabendu. I think it's a 2-part question for you from Idea Cafe. Amul needed OH medium in initial stage of brand building. Now how Amul can help outdoor while they are the most successful marketing brand? This is the first part of the question. The second part is, since Amul was also synonymous with OH as it was the first medium, how the whole community can continue to stay synonymous forever?
Thank you so much. First things first, Amul needs OH as much as the OH industry needs Amul. So the relationship is definitely symbiotic, and we need to actually work on, able to communicate through the clutter, through the cost, high cost funnel that the new medium, the OH medium today is actually, as compared to the ROI you get into other forms of communication. But again, to my mind, as a professional, as an advertiser, and as a consumer, I still believe in the power of OH, because that's where it is a democratic form of consumption of the ideas, the views, the messages, and so on. Anybody does not need to subscribe to anything to be accessing the information of a particular brand. So this is where we need to leverage the power. We as an industry, both the practicing side and the publishing side, should work together on finding out ideas to how to make it more easily available, affordable to the audience in the new technology and the new medium that is available to us. And brands like us, which have a consumer connect across all stratas of the society. I mean, the richest man in the country to the poorest man eat the same product. No other brand in the country has this kind of consumer connect. So this is where we have this responsibility to talk to everyone, irrespective of the caste, class, creed, religion, location, whatever. And that's where OH can be the biggest form of communication if done well. And if done well is from the cost point of view, not from the effectiveness point of view.
Thank you. The second question is from Bhavna Anand from Times OH. How does Amul see new age outdoor initiatives like DOH, PDOH, anamorphic, or any other interactive activities for your branding?
It's a good question, and we have started working on the different kind of tools which are available. Again, as I mentioned, it's in the stage of experimentation. The kind of commitment of the budgets, or maybe shifting of budgets from the conventional to the OOH, is now gradually started happening. And I can see, like we've started working with 4 airports for the new style of communication of the product, which is basically the drool form of communication and communicating the goodness and the quality of the product without speaking much. And as they say, a picture can speak 1,000 words. So this is where we are currently experimenting it, and these new tools, what you mentioned, will help us able to actually pass on the message in a much better way.
Thank you. The third question is from Mr. Vishnu Freelancer. Amul is known for its innovative marketing initiatives. How can the OH industry leverage creativity and technology to offer some engaging campaigns which may help up the investments of Amul to go from 1% to 2%?
Thank you so much. I wish our shareholders are listening to it. Yes, again, innovation, actually the digital transformation of OH actually gives us this great opportunity to do so at a lower cost. Earlier, creatives used to take a lot of time in being hand-painted and displayed. Then we have this new material which is put up, and printing is good quality, and it instantly goes up. And you can do it across the country in just less than 24 hours. With the digital billboards coming up, it is even faster, and that's what would actually send across the message. For us, the anchor is our Amul Girl. And she doesn't need any introduction to anyone. And the better and more number of times you see it on the big screen, which is a minimum 20 by 10 feet hoarding size, and even bigger ones available these days, it is an instant recognition for the brand. And the ROI actually for the brand is infinite, because you are not actually making an effort to scream and talk about it, because the girl and topical always communicate the right message to the people at any given point of time. Having said that, how do we go to 200 cities? Having said that, how do we go to 1,000 hoardings? How do we go to 2,000 hoardings? This is what is the challenge for us as the advertiser, and you as the medium who will give us this opportunity to be there. We are definitely looking at that, not just with the topical campaign, but with our product campaigns. And we have activated teams in 200 cities and towns of the country, where we are looking at OH very, very closely. We are looking at marquee sites. We are looking at high throughput venues like the airports and the railway stations, and also looking at marketplaces where we are able to do. And then if we are able to do it through the OH conventional media or through Amul parlors or any mix of both, it will be a big game changer. But I'm very certain, and I can tell you very confidently, that for us, we are investing into OH in a very big way, and I'm sure each one of you will, at least, if not be a part of it, you will also see it as consumers that Amul is trying to make a change in the conventional way of advertising and reaching out to a large number of people across the country in a very big way. And I'm also happy to tell you the first Amul topical will soon be in New York, New Jersey area, and we're also trying to experiment with taking the Amul topical internationally and trying to see whether it connects with the Indian diaspora outside the country also. So that's the journey of brand building internationally, but in India, having invested in this medium for more than 50 years, we want to make it big in the next 5 to 7 years.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So we'll see you in more cities and more hoardings now.
Yes, sure.
Good.
Sure.
So you have to choose any one question out of these three. If you want, I'll repeat the questions. Bhavna, one question which he asked was, how does Amul see the new age outdoor initiatives like DOH, PDOH, anamorphic, or any other interactive activities for their branding? The second question was, Amul needed OH medium in initial stage of brand building. Now how can Amul help outdoor while they are most successful marketing brand? The last question was, Amul is known for its innovative marketing initiatives. How can the OH industry leverage creativity and technology to increase the share from 1% to 2%?
तो डबल को करेंगे आधा, and answer taking his point, देना है कि लेना है. So if we get one, क्या बोलते हैं, if we have 100 sites and if we get 100 sites free, I think the job is well done. Thank you so much.
So the last one, sir?
Yes, all three are good. No, all three are difficult. I'm very confident the remaining 37 must have been the easier ones. So thank you all for those questions.
So which one, we have to pick up any one?
ठीक है, third वाली को ले लेते.
Third one? Okay. Vishnu, freelancer.
Vishnu was crossing his fingers, hoping he was going to walk on the stage right now, right? We can see the smile. We've got a check, sir, that's waiting for Vishnu. He walks away with 10,000 rupees right now for the winning question. Can you please join us, Mr. Hirani, as well for the photograph, please? Congratulations, Vishnu. Thank you so much, Mr. Mehta, for choosing the winning question.
ये तो देना है. Congratulations.
Brought to you by Alag Advertising and Publicity. Wonderful, congratulations. That is so special. And we've got a memento that's coming especially for you. Sir, can we please have the memento brought onto stage? Amul's given each one of us so many amazing memories, so much of sensitivity and so much of humor and smiles. Thank you so much for joining us here on stage today, sir. Thank you for your time and your presence.